everywhere MAGA Republican leaders go now, there's some level of backlash. And I have a thought on that I want to share with you in a second. But first, let's just check in on Trump arriving at the NCAA wrestling championship, men's wrestling championship. And there was, I would say, a mixed reaction, a smattering of different cheers and some boos and middle fingers. And then even before he got into the arena, there was a quote unquote anti-fascist tailgate. That's a tailgate I could go to. I spent my whole life around tailgates that were less exciting than that. Media reports Trump greeted by cheers, USA chants, boos at NCAA event. An anti-fascist tailgate outside. We'll listen to a local station report on this.
It's cleanup time at the Wells Fargo Center after the NCAA Wrestling Championships. The event wrapped up last night with a visit from President Trump. The visit was met with both praise and protests. That was the reaction from the crowd in South Philadelphia last night as the president made his entrance. He sat alongside Tesla CEO Elon Musk and U.S. Senator Dave McCormick. Outside the arena, several dozen people protested against the president's visit. There was a smaller counter-protest with those who say they support President Trump and his administration. Back inside, wrestling fans say this was something they couldn't miss.
If I had to bet, I don't think it will come back.
And then it goes on to a testimony from a guy who was very excited to have his small son there with a MAGA hat on, which I always find really uncomfortable. Starting the MAGA early. Son, maybe one day you'll grow up to be wildly successful after being found liable of sexually abusing a woman. You'll make your daddy so proud. And here's some photographs of those who weren't so happy. Again, you did hear cheers and then some boos and then unhappy folks, middle finger, thumbs down, all the good things. And this is an unwelcome surprise for Trump. He'd rather the UFC reaction where it's 100% positive, but it's in line. It's actually a softer reaction, maybe because of the type of event, than what we've seen a lot of Republicans being faced with, which is a really exciting characteristic of this moment, that people are paying attention enough to be showing up and expressing their outrage. We talked about Hageman? Yeah, Harriet Hageman, the Republican representative, and her showing up and acting to be very happy as people booed her. Hi. Thank you. Oh, no, you suck. You suck. Oh, hi. Thanks for coming. You hate me. I hate you too. Her reaction was strange. But at another event, Harriet Hageman, again, I guess she did a couple back to back. She had a Republican veteran stand up to confront her. I'll play this for you. But first, I told you I have a thought on this. Here's what I'm thinking. Is it that notable? Is it a huge event that some people were upset at an NCAA event with Trump? Every president will have that. But what is huge is you rarely see across the country the level of, at these town halls, and it's going to be building as Trump goes different places, the level of resentment and anger towards a lot of these DOGE actions, towards the fear of Medicaid being gutted in this GOP budget. And we're only at months in. And so what I'm thinking is, as heartbroken as I am that people are feeling the pain that they are, that is only the beginning. We have to be, fair and say this is probably just the beginning, given the plans of the Trump administration. But we can't control that. What we can control is the fact that enough people are paying attention and they want to rally against what we're seeing. And so let's give them a reason to be motivated going into future elections, continuing these protests, but then mobilizing that energy and directing it towards a productive cause. And the Democratic Party now has a huge burden, and they better not mess it up. Because if you can't turn this early the rage we're seeing justifiably from people, constituents, Republicans towards their elected officials because of the Trump administration, and Trump starting his administration with, compared to other presidents at this point in time, low approval rating, and it's probably only going to go down. If that can't be turned into electoral success and then effective governance in future elections, then I really don't know what to say. So it better. And what we should be motivated about is that clearly it's not just us feeling rage. Some people who normally would never tune into a show like this are feeling the same sort of rage at what the Trump administration has already done, not to mention what people are going to feel years in the future. Again, here's Republican Harriet Hageman being confronted.
Specific question here. And just to give you a little reference, I'm a retired military officer. At 18, I rose my hand to defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. And at that time, well, I still am. I am still a Republican. I am, bless his heart, a Simpson Republican that believes in working together across the aisle.
If I were an elected representative and someone with this energy, and she's bringing sort of the authority and sort of the way that she's moving her body, and that definitely giving military officer energy, were confronting me, reprimanding me in this way, Lukey would be doing a boopy.
And my question, having looked at Musk's DOGE, whatever website, you are a lawyer. Where is this fraud? Who? What company? What organization?
Post it.
What personnel?
I'll just start reading some of
Are
it.
we going after?
I'll just start reading some of it. I'll just start reading it right now if you'd like me to. I'll just focus on USAID spending right here.
I didn't say spending. I said actual fraud.
This is
And it's brilliant. And then she the same line items that we've gone through many times will be Hageman's response. But it's a really, no, give me fraud. Because we know you disagree with certain investments. But whenever you try to prove your claims, as we've been seeing with DOGE, they'll post just fraudulent numbers. The fraud is not what they're finding, it's what they're doing. Oh, we found $8 million in some spending we disagree with, and we changed it to $8 billion. Or we misunderstood what a government contract was, and we posted that. And again, I've given you those particulars in the past. Chuck Grassley also dealing with this.
But we are depending on you and the others to help save democracy. Thank you.
I will address your question. I think I gave you one example of $20 million in the Department of Defense. I think I've got another thing. I've got an investigative staff on, and we've got 33 investigations going in. So I'd have to have you. I can't give you all 33 of those investigations.
No, that makes total sense. You can't give 33. I get that. That's tough. Maybe one. Do you have one? Chuck, do you got one? I heard something about trans mice or mice getting trans surgeries. No, that was wrong, Chuck. Eric Swalwell, though, the Democratic congressman, is saying, here's how we should think of this moment. I thought this was a good message.
And a college coach would always tell me, every time we started a season, think about what you want the last game and the last moment of that game to feel like. And right now, for our democracy, we know what it felt like in November. So as we start this season of democracy that'll take us to November 4, 2026, today is about you thinking about what do you want that day to look like. To me, it's a day of celebration. It's a day of accountability. It's a day of redemption for our democracy.
That's what we need. That's a great, redemption day. Because we failed the test. I saw someone say about Project 2025 and how now Trump's getting rid of the Department of Education. And that's just on one of they cited the particular page that's on Project 2025 and said that America failed an open book test. We had the answers and we still we circled the wrong bubble. And so now we need a redemption. And I don't know how many redemptions we're going to get. And so what should give you some, I'm always trying to, here's the bright side. It's completely pitch black outside, but I'm going to find a bright side for you. Is that if you can imagine how we'd feel upon victory given the stakes, because we can't change that America made the wrong choice. We can maybe have America's redemption be, he said 2026, that's a big part of it, important. House and Senate shift, local elections make a meaningful, shift as well. And then ultimately 2028 as well. But each step of the way, there's going to be off-year elections, the Wisconsin Supreme Court race coming up. There's going to be different steps. And then, and we'll talk about this as we get closer, but then we're going to have to be as vigilant in making sure if we did see victory, that the energy is there to actually govern, because there's going to be so much broken and we don't just want to fix and then risk handing that back over to Republicans, but actually see meaningful progress forward, not just getting us back to where we were before. By the way, in this video of Trump entering the arena, one of the things that came to my head is as you watch, you're just sort of seeing Trump come in, there was mixed reaction, and then, wait a minute, Elon Musk is there. Okay, well, yeah, I guess he's there, but what else was Elon Musk doing this weekend? He was here at dinner. And by the way, if you're not subscribed to the channel, I'll just pop my head that I haven't asked you. Please make sure you do. He's kind of looking and Caroline Levitt seems to be confused. He's looking, let's subscribe for our podcast listeners. He's kind of looking at something on his finger. I can't really, is that silverware he put together? Oh my gosh. We have a billionaire child in control of the government. I did not realize until just now he put together silverware so they're all balancing on each other. And Caroline Levitt is very amused and then she walks away and he goes, no, look, it's on my finger. Some people said something about get me out. I don't know what that was about when the caddy hits up, but you could see he's very enamored. Oh my God. Have you ever thought that a pencil is just like a pen but different? Jaden, you see this? You see this? If I had two pencils and I balanced them on each other, that would look really weird. What's the difference between this Sharpie and this pencil? Very weird. But the reason if you'll put this back up, Trump's right there. And it's just strange. Can we just admit, why does Trump never go anywhere without Elon? Why does Elon have to go to Mar-a-Lago with Trump and then go to the sports game with Trump? Can he not ever go by himself somewhere? It's like a conservatorship. Is that what it's called? But for Trump. So strange. And when we talk about this rage that people are feeling, it's only being exacerbated by comments like this from the Commerce Secretary about Social Security, as Social Security is taking steps to make it more difficult for people if they get their benefits wrongly cut off to get in contact with Social Security. You can't do it now by the phone. You got to go in person. But if you really, they're shutting down field offices, they're cutting staff. It's getting more and more difficult for people to get what they deserve, what they absolutely deserve, which is the benefits they worked for. And Howard Lutnick says, well, people complaining about losing their benefits, that's a sign that you're fraudulent.
Let's say Social Security didn't send out their checks this month. My mother-in-law, who's 94, she wouldn't call and complain. She just wouldn't. She'd think something got messed up and she'll get it next month.
Yeah.
A fraudster always makes the loudest noise, screaming, yelling, and complaining.
Yeah, also someone who can't afford their medication or their food if they don't get that check. Right? That may be also that. Howard. Such a gross statement. Yeah, what about that guy that Elon, really Social Security Administration, thought was dead and took thousands of dollars out of his account? And he had money just stolen from him because they thought he had been receiving checks fraudulently and he hadn't. Well, he's probably going to be really passionate about calling, and now what, is he going to have to go in person to verify that he's alive? What if you shut down a field office close to him, now he's travel far distance? Maybe he has impediments to that, health or otherwise. And him demanding his benefits, that's proof that you're making a lot of noise. What's his name, Ned? Something like that. Making a lot of noise, Ned, Ted, whatever the name was. Sorry if I'm mistaking it. Making a lot of noise. Is this a fraud? I don't know. Maybe you are, Ned. Maybe you are. That's, again, we're only at the beginning. I can only imagine, as we have month after month after month of these actions, what the popular support for something else is going to be. And it's going to be our job to define the best something else. Share your thoughts in the comments. If you want to support this show, go a step further than just the free YouTube subscription. You can do that by clicking the join button below.